Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another fantastic edition of the Celebrity Creator Show. Kathy, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing absolutely awesome. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Can't wait to get started. Starting off with a nice little echo there. We're going to get through this just fine. Oh, my goodness. All right, Dr. Bob, if you have a set of headphones, this would be the time to put them on. We were just testing this before we got started, folks, and it was crystal clear. Absolutely no issues. We will get her going. While we prepare here, going to go into an introduction of our fantastic guest. His name is Dr. Bob Uslander. In addition to practicing emergency medicine for the past 20 years, Dr. Uslander has created several successful health-related businesses, including a medical house call practice, a hospitalist program for inpatient care, an urgent care clinic, a private in-home care company for seniors, and a nonprofit corporation that operates an adult day health care program. He currently serves as the medical director and advisor for a startup healthcare technology company that is developing an online platform designed to reduce unplanned remissions after major surgery. Dr. Uslander is the happiest doctor he knows. He believes this is because he has clearly identified his values, his unique gifts, and his life purpose, and has designed a life that honors these and keeps his outer world and his inner world in complete alignment. To share these gifts and fulfill his purpose, Dr. Uslander coaches other doctors and professionals to help them gain the same degree of clarity he has and to align their lives as well. The powerful coaching process he utilizes allows his clients to experience a transformation that brings considerably more joy and meaning to their lives and improves the positive impact they have on their patients, their families, and their communities. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the show Dr. Bob Uslander. Welcome to the show, Dr. Bob.
Thanks, guys. How are you?
Fantastic. Now that we can hear you.
Doing awesome. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Kathy, take it away.
Well, Dr. Bob, we are very excited and looking forward to hearing what is Doctors on Purpose.
Doctors on Purpose is it's a company that I began several months ago, and at the heart of it, Doctors on Purpose is my attempt to honor physicians and to help really to make a bigger difference in people's lives. I'll kind of take you back. I've been an ER doctor for 20 years. I graduated from medical school. You may not believe this, but I graduated from medical school in 1988. And I did a residency in emergency medicine, so I've been practicing for quite a while now. And I love practicing medicine. I love being a physician. But after I've been practicing for a number of years, I started feeling like I was part of a dysfunctional system. And I think it's not a secret that a lot of physicians are feeling that way. I recognize that many physicians just aren't really able to have the impact that they want to. They're not living the lives that they envision, and because of that, they're really not reaching people in the way that they're meant to. Patients aren't really getting the best from the doctors. Really nobody is. They've been working so hard at something, training and really giving of themselves to their career. A lot of times they just don't have a lot left over. They're not able to meet their patients' needs adequately because the system has been really changing and morphing and really not to anybody's real benefit. I don't know, maybe like the CEO of the insurance companies, they may be benefiting, but really no one else has been really benefiting from a lot of the changes. Doctors aren't meeting the needs of their families because they're working so hard trying to meet the needs of the patients who are really not always getting what they need. And the last ones that they're actually able to work on fulfilling or satisfying are themselves. So I recognized I was working hard. The connections that I had with patients I really enjoyed and appreciated. but I felt like over time that there was a bigger purpose for me. And I realized that if I could help doctors find a way to be more satisfied, more joyful, more successful in their own lives, to feel more successful, that they would be better at meeting everybody's needs, including their patients. So Doctors on
Nice.
Purpose is a way to honor doctors, to help them honor themselves. And there's several ways that I go about doing that. But really, that's the heart of it. I created something so that doctors had a place to go to learn about ways of living and interacting that would allow them to be more joyful and to feel more successful. And in doing so, just have a bigger impact on the people that they serve.
Excellent.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And as everyone could probably recognize, most doctors, including yourself, have a very hectic schedule. You're always busy, working very, very hard. How was it that it must have been difficult to come to this decision, but how did you come to the decision to start Doctors on Purpose? What made you come to that decision?
It was a long road. It wasn't just one thing. I honestly feel like creating Doctors on Purpose and what we're doing with Doctors on Purpose, it was a path that actually kind of found me. I had been doing a lot of different things over the years, not necessarily knowing exactly where it was all leading. And through all of that is how Doctors on Purpose came to be. About 10 years ago, almost exactly 10 years ago, I was in this mode. I'd been practicing for 10 years at that point, and starting to feel a little restless. I realized that it was going to be tough for me to keep doing the same thing in the same way for another 20, 30, 40 years. I didn't know where I was going to be going, how that was all going to unfold. But I had an experience that really changed me. I had a very good friend who died at the age of 32. And he had melanoma, and he had a mole removed on his back 5 years before that. Seemed like it was all gone, not a big deal, and it came back and took over, and it became apparent that no treatments were working. He asked me if I would help him and provide hospice care for him over the last weeks, months of his life.
Wow.
That was pretty powerful. It was a really obviously profound experience. My whole family, we were very involved with his family. He was married. His kids were 5, 3, and 1. And watching that process helped just really kind of created a spark in me that I wasn't going to just let life happen. I was going to make a difference, and I was going to use the time that I had to really figure out how to make my life count. Not long after that, I had an experience where I was actually sitting on a bluff looking out over the Pacific Ocean up near Big Sur, kind of in a real contemplative mood, and I just got this sort of I don't know, it was almost like a light shaft. I had an amazing moment where I just recognized that I had everything I need. I had all the power in me to create an amazing, beautiful life. And from that point forward, I just have been on a journey. And it was a process. So I started learning about how to create businesses that really had an impact. And I created a business that helped seniors in our community because I saw that as a real need. Created a house call practice. And then with my wife and other people, we created a company that does in-home care for seniors. And we started learning new things. We started taking on new ways of being and recognizing that we had the power to create a life that was very meaningful and really we were passionate about it. We weren't just letting it happen anymore. And through that, I had a lot of mentors. I had mentors who were both living mentors who I spent time with and really inspired me. And I read like book after book after book And so I had mentors that were amazing people who were no longer alive, and mentors that were doing personal development type work, and mentors in business and health. And I remember there were times when Sandy, my wife, would like ask me, why are you reading all these books? What are what are you doing? I mean, it doesn't, what's the value? And I didn't really know. I mean, I was feeling like I was changing, but I didn't know what it was all leading to. And then about a year ago, I was at a seminar, and I had another one of those experiences where things just became very clear. And I at that moment in that seminar, sitting right next to my wife in a room of 400 people who were all very inspired by the speakers and what they were part of, it just crystallized that I was meant to help other people see the light that's inside of them, the real power that they had to create a life that was really meaningful, of their choosing, to not accept what they felt they were doomed to, but to really live on purpose and figure out how to be the most valuable in service to the world. And that's when the idea of Doctors on Purpose came to be. My wife, bless her, has been incredibly supportive. She's on board fully.
Nice.
That was the story leading up to how this all happened.
You know what, that is just so so heartwarming and touching. And I've got to tell you, the more events that Brian and I go to, and the more folks that we connect with, Dr. Bob, we find that there's almost this universal kind of transformation that's going on that we've been experiencing through other individuals. And it's so exciting to hear that you've had something similar happen with you. How great is it to be in a position in your life, no matter what the situation is that comes to you, that allows you to see things in a different way, and for you to be touched in such a way that, not only being a doctor, because you helped so many people right where you were sitting before all of this started happening with you, but for the fact that you were moved to something greater and beyond, to even to be in a greater position of service to help the individuals that you work with and the people around you. I commend you for that, and I think that's absolutely phenomenal. But one of the things that I want to ask you is, now that you have kind of put this program together, we understand that you do a coaching type program with individuals in your profession. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, I'd love to. As I was going forward and trying to figure out how I could best meet the needs and best connect with doctors, and it's not just doctors that I work with. Obviously doctors are part of they're my tribe. They're the people that I know very well. I know what they're experiencing. I know the struggles, and not every doctor is struggling by any means. I don't want to make it sound like every one of them is unhappy and miserable. There's a lot of doctors who are doing amazing things in the world. And that's part of what Doctors on Purpose is also trying to do, is connect with those doctors and help them, hold them up as kind of the heroes, the people who have figured out how to really stay inspired and passionate and do amazing things. But I wanted to create programs where I could share what I'd learned and be a vessel, in a sense, be a conduit. My feeling is every doctor that I could touch and help improve their ability to connect with people in their lives, that could potentially influence thousands of other people.
Wow.
So I actually went to a coaching program, and I did a coach training. There was a 5-day training in a really wonderful technique. The people who trained me had developed a coaching model called the Fulfillment Coaching Method. Peter and Marcia, they were amazing, and I'll always be indebted to them, because the coaching training that I did was another one of those completely transformational experiences where I just became so deeply connected with who I really am at my core, who I'm meant to be, what I'm meant to be doing with my life, really helping to solidify what my purpose is in the world. And it gave me a tool that I can now use with other people to help them experience that same kind of transformation, which I've been doing. And everyone that I've worked with has had it's a powerful transformation because they within a matter of hours in our first sessions together, people are seeing themselves and they're seeing themselves in a very different light, learning to really honor and love themselves in a much deeper way, and then they're able to go and take that moving forward. And my job as a coach is to help keep them connected with that, to help them stay aligned in making decisions in their life that make sense and honor that amazing person that they've now gotten back in touch with. You know, I think back to the times when I was in medical school and training and residency, and you know, I spent literally hundreds of hours a week with these people who are now the doctors that you're going to see in your office, and you're thinking, God, why are they so grumpy? You know, why don't they seem like they like their life? And but I guarantee you, I can assure you that when we were all starting out together, they weren't that same. They weren't like that. They were passionate. They were amazing. I mean, they were dreaming about the amazing life that they were going to have, the impact that they were going to have. You know, we delivered our first babies together, and we celebrated, and we were there when we lost our first patients together, and we cried. And I know what's in their hearts so deeply. And so the fact that their lives are now not turning out to be what they'd envisioned, that they're feeling like they don't have a choice, that they're trapped, and it's horror. I mean, to me, it's a tragedy, and I feel like I can do something about it, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Fantastic.
You know what? So I just have to say this. Your tribe is doctors, but what you're saying is so appropriate to so many people out there, Dr. Bob. When I look at, I was in corporate America for almost 30 years, and starting out very young in the business that I was involved in, it was very similar in the fact that everybody was young and excited and putting in all of this time and dedicating to what the job was. And because I was in the same industry for so many years, I watched people evolve. And you're right. I mean, you kind of become stymied and stifled. So when we were doing some of the marketing for the show, Brian and I talked about it. And your message, although your tribe being physicians, speaks so much to the heart of so many people out there. So we encourage folks that are not doctors to just go to your site and look at the message that you're sharing tonight and that people can read about, because it is so appropriate for so many people out there.
I appreciate you saying that, and you know, you're right. It's not just doctors that I'm drawn to working with. I'm coaching doctors. I'm coaching people who are wellness coaches. I'm actually coaching a couple entrepreneurs. But they're people who believe that they're meant to make a difference. And you know, I'm part of a mastermind group, Lisa Sasovich's mastermind group, and I'm surrounded now. Sandy and I are surrounded by so many people who share this message, who share this vision, and it keeps us so inspired that there are I'm part of this group now, so it almost seems like everybody now has the same vocabulary, and we're all sort of on this same journey and path. But I recognize that that's just a small, it's a microcosm. We're living in experiencing this microcosm. While I believe there is a bit of a shift going on universally, and more people trying to get in touch with their purpose and live in alignment. There's a lot of people who haven't really heard that message yet, or haven't moved on it. So absolutely, I'd love to work with not just doctors. I find anyone in the healing profession or anyone who feels like they're really meant to have an impact, and I'm I would love to connect with, and absolutely go to the website and connect with me. And the way I do it is I have one-on-one coaching, and I also am starting a group coaching program pretty soon. So we'll talk a little bit more about that if we have time.
Excellent. Yeah, there's so much that you're talking about that resonates so well with me personally as well, Dr. Bob. I've been through coaching fairly recently in a very similar type of a format, it sounds, and it was liberating was the word I come up with each and every time. It just freed me from so many shackles. You know, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So I can really relate, and I also would like to say the same thing Kathy did, which is thank you and kudos for what you're doing, especially in the doctors community, but also in the professional community, because you know to get that kind of liberation and that move forward, and you know really everybody has something they can do to change the world, not just those of us that kind of feel it. I think everybody has the power within them to make a difference, and it's just getting to that point of first receiving the message that they can do that, and then accepting it, and then moving on it, like you so adeptly pointed out. You mentioned a little bit, kind of vaguely, about the experiences some of the folks you've coached have gone through. Do you have any more, like a little bit more detailed example, say, of just pick one out maybe, and you don't need to reveal a name, but what kind of change happened with that individual that really sticks out in your mind?
I would, if I see, probably the most powerful example, and the person I'm going to speak about is a physician,
Okay.
and he's a physician in a leadership position. But I want to, if I can, just back up to what you were
Sure.
saying just a minute ago, because you are so absolutely right that every single individual has genius within them, and can make a huge impact. And it doesn't mean an impact like they're going to, create a peace treaty between nations, but everybody is making a difference in their world and the people around them. And everybody, if they're just reached and touched in a way that helps to unlock something, or to shift the way that they feel about themselves, or the way that they view the world, that shift will change everything for them, and then they become a light that really can have a huge impact, and that make that shift in the other people they touch. So going back to the doctor that I've been working with, this is a guy who he's been very successful. He's been practicing for almost as long as I have, and he's in a leadership position. He runs a medical group. He's the chief of staff of a hospital. He has all kinds of opportunities coming his way, and he's being asked to go into higher positions of leadership. But there's a couple things that were happening. One of them was he was getting so busy, he was just saying yes to everything that was being offered, and not necessarily understanding where it was all leading. He was losing his own sense of identity. He was getting overwhelmed, spending virtually no time with his family. And when he was with his family, he wasn't really with his family. He was thinking about all the other things that were going on in his life. He also didn't really feel authentic. He didn't feel like he deserved all the good things that were coming to him.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just his own kind of belief, and because of the stories he'd been telling himself over the years. So we were able to spend time together, and after the very first session that we had, there was this enlightenment of, oh, this is what I want. These are the things that are really important to me. This is what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And he didn't all of a sudden say, oh, I don't really feel like I'm supposed to be a leader, and I'm not supposed to be doing these jobs. But every decision now that he's making, he's able to make with this compass, with this GPS, this internal navigation system that he gets to check everything against. and he's saying no to a lot of the things that are happening. He's experiencing joy every
Mhm.
day and times when he wasn't, because he now has learned to love the person that he is. There were times when I'm giving all my secrets right now, but there were times when he was
That's okay. We'll take a minute. We want to make sure everybody has a pen and paper right now.
every every day he'd be having conversations or meetings, and he was having these internal conversations. This internal critic was saying, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that," or when I that wasn't that wasn't the right way to approach that, or who am I to make a decision about that? Why is this person coming to me to ask for advice? And he's totally shifted that, and now he's kind of learned that those we all have negative thoughts that come, and things that a lot of times clutter our mind and keep us from feeling joyful or feeling positive. But he's learned to just let those things come and go, just kind of be, not to give them any recognition or judgment, but just to recognize that, yeah, those are natural thoughts. We all have them, but they don't stick. They just kind of float away, and because of that, he's just able to be much more present. So when I have sessions with someone like that, and I hear the positive impact that they're having, and it's not because of me, it's just sort of through me that I get to share some of these principles that I've learned and open somebody else's eyes to them. It just, that there's nothing like it. It's so joyful,
Yeah.
to be having that kind of experience and relationship with somebody.
Can absolutely relate with that.
Well,
That's awesome.
Brian, what would you shared that, if I could turn it back on you a little bit, and we don't need to get into the details of it, but what did you experience through the coaching what changed for you?
Much of what you just said was very similar to the kind of things I went through, as far as the freeing of accepting and just moving forward, not worrying about consequences of actions as much, not worrying about looking over my shoulder. Every thought I had, I thought somebody was thinking. It was a very confining area. It is a long story, and I don't want to go into it too deep, but it didn't seem like it was a life-shattering thing I was going through. It was just an incredibly liberating thing that I was brought through, and it just opened my eyes in ways it's been unbelievably wonderful. It's changed me. I'm more relaxed. I'm more comfortable with myself. And it was a Christian-based training by Marianne Amen. She's a phenomenal woman. Both Kathy and I know her very well, and she was very masterful in taking me by the hand, and in a very short period of time, basically identifying an area to look at and remedying it. And it was magical, liberating. It was incredible.
Good for you. One of the things about coaching, and you could probably speak to this as well. One of the things that's so powerful is that you have this ongoing relationship, and you, as a client, you take this time, right? You create a sacred space in your life to connect with your coach. And in a person's normal busy life, there's always something pulling for their time, and they almost never will carve out time just to work on them, and to have somebody else, me, honor them, appreciate how amazing they are, because to me, I get to, it's the best job in the world. And the thing is, we can do this as a physician. You can do it as anybody. You don't have to be a trained coach to do this. But I get to help somebody see how magnificent they are, that they're that same magnificent, beautiful person that they always were from the moment that they were born, until the moment they take their last breath. That's the only thing that's real, is just this real magnificence within them, and I get to help them remember that. That's what I do.
Awesome. I've got to share this with you. Come to find out, we have other people in common. Don Staley is on with us tonight, and he said that you're a fantastic, awesome guy, and so he's given a shout out to you, Dr. Bob, and Brian and I both know Don as well. So exciting to have him on tonight with us.
Yeah, wonderful. Hi, Don. Thank you for that. You're an amazing man yourself. So thank you.
And one of the other things is we've been talking about the fact that you work with different individuals, but who would you say is your ideal coaching client?
I guess my ideal coaching client is me, honestly. And you hear this when you're in I've heard this before with Lisa and these masterminds, that I'm the person who I was, somebody who was, I was committed, I was hardworking, I had gone on this path, this dedicated path, but I felt there was more out there for me to do, and I was really hungry to do something. I just didn't quite know what it was. I didn't know how to find it. So I was my ideal coaching client. I was able to go through my own coaching experience, my own mentorship, and my own growth, and get to a place of being incredibly happy, incredibly fulfilled, and now in a position I feel to give back and to share it. So people who are in a place of not knowing really how to go forward and experience the incredible beauty that life has to offer them. That would be my ideal coaching client. And it could be a physician, could be somebody completely different.
Would you attribute a lot of your reading to what brought you through this process as far as helping yourself to become your own client, to help coach yourself?
Yeah, I think it's been a combination of things. It's been reading, it's been people I've met who have really influenced and impacted me, and part of it was opening my heart to that, right? Opening my heart and my mind to the people who were around me, and taking in the best of what they had to offer. There's been a lot of incredible influences, and almost everybody that you meet has the ability to provide a positive influence on you if you allow yourself to receive that. But yeah, I've read business books, and I've read spiritual books, and I've read personal development books, and I've been to seminars, and so each of those has had some impact on me. I'd like to think, and the people in my life, my family, has had a huge impact on me, allowing me to kind of become who I'm meant to be, and supporting that as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, because one of the things from a personal note that happened after this big liberation that occurred with me is now I'm taking up reading of various books that is actually helping me to further that advancement of liberation. And so I was wondering if there was any connection between you having a similar type of experience as well. But like you say, it's so many things. There's so many things besides reading and the people you meet, like you said. Kathy and I talk about things a lot along this realm, and I learn a lot from her. She's great at a lot of things like affirmations and a lot of positive thinking ideals.
Well, we should share some. We can share our books, because I think that's one of the people have brought books into my life kind of when I've needed them. I think that a lot of how it works is, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and I think that happens with books a lot.
Yes,
absolutely.
Has been especially gifted at bringing things like that into our life. I wanted to talk. I wanted to talk a little bit more about what else Doctors on Purpose is doing and becoming as well.
Sure.
Because
Absolutely.
coaching is a part of it, and I will be starting some group coaching programs and doing things that are not quite as involved as one-on-one. Kind of, there's different offerings for different people, and there's free stuff on the website that talks about finding life balance and ways to identify where in your life you might need to be focusing right now. So on the doctorsonpurpose.com website, there's great stuff. And one of the other things that we're doing is trying to create a community of doctors who really feel like they're on purpose. And when I first started this, I started reaching out to doctors. I was going on Google, and I was asking other people to share the names of doctors they know who are doing amazing work in the world, and not just going off and working in Africa, but doing amazing work just in their own communities, the whole range. And so I've been fortunate to connect with a number of different doctors who I've done interviews with, and we're getting familiar with using live stream and doing things similar to what we're doing right here, and we're going to start having interviews on a regular basis with these really amazing, inspiring doctors to show what you can do, because I want to share these people with the world. I want people to start having different conversations about doctors, and instead of just talking about how difficult it is to get in to see their doctor, how long they had to wait in the office. I want, and we need, as a society, we need to start having different conversations, coming together, and meeting each other's needs. So one way to do that is to hold some of the doctors who really are totally fired up about what they're doing and what their life is, the purpose of their life is all about, and share that. So we've got there's a blog post on my site right now about a doctor named Jason Prostowski. Great guy. A mutual friend connected us. He is an emergency physician. He works in Santa Barbara now, and he spent several months, about half the year, every year for the last 7 or 8 years, in different parts of the world. He was going out, and he spent 9 months in Sudan working on eradicating polio and helping villages create programs to keep the villages safe. He was up in Palestine. He's an amazing guy, and he came back, and he's now been in the States for a year, and this is the longest he's been in one place for a long time. But he's in Santa Barbara. I mean, it's not like he's suffering. But he's working with an organization called Doctors Without Walls, doing street medicine for the homeless.
Nice.
And he's teaching medical students, and he's helping to inspire medical students and help them learn how to become advocates for human rights, and not just go for the money, but to really be thinking about what they're called to do, and to get these kids who are, like I said, they're inspired, they're passionate, they need role models to be showing them what's possible. So people like that, we've connected, and I can talk a little bit more about this later, but we have a friend who's Dr. Ben Labrat. He's started floating doctors, and he got a 75-foot catamaran donated and has been sailing around the Caribbean, providing care for free to remote coastal villages in the Caribbean. So we're having a conference. Actually, we're co-hosting a conference in Panama in April, and we're getting all the pieces put together for that, and I'd love to share more about that as well. But so there's great stuff going on. There's great people doing great things, and Doctors on Purpose is really about helping to connect people to that.
That's awesome. Well, Brian, why don't we tell everybody how else they can connect with Dr. Bob?
You read my mind. It's unbelievable. Every show, it's the same exact thing.
Good.
It's incredible. Yes. For those of you watching, you'll see this handsome guy beneath us right here, Dr. Bob Uslander. He's moving. He's animated. He's alive. There's also a still image of him. If you're watching live, it's sort of beneath us. If you're watching the recording version, it's usually up above. But what we'd like you to do after the show is over, not right now, because that would take you away from us, but after the show is over, click right on his nose on that still image, and that will take you to his Facebook page. You can get connected with him in a more personal way there. In addition to that, you'll see beneath us is a banner, a nice little graphic with Doctors on Purpose. If you click on that, what will they receive with that, Bob?
Well, I think that's going to the free call.
Yes.
Is that the link there? Yeah. So I'm going to be doing a call on December 1st. It's going to be, I believe, 5:30 in the afternoon Pacific time, and I'm going to be. It's called Live on Purpose and Create a Life You Love, and it's not really geared towards just doctors, but doctors are the people who I've been connecting with and helping them to learn how to create a life they love. But I'd like anybody who's interested in learning how to live on purpose. To me, that's the key. Not living on accident, but living on purpose, knowing what your purpose is and living every day towards that. So the free call is really just my way to share my passion, my knowledge, some tips and tools that I've developed, and it'll be about 60 minutes. And if you click on that link, it'll give you an opportunity to sign up. Along with that, when you click on that and sign up, I've created a couple of little free gifts that will be coming your way. One of them is I call it a whole life. It's a life balance tool to help you identify where in your life you may be unbalanced right now. And the other is what I call the weekly dose. I took the principles from my Live on Purpose program and I broke them down one by one, and I'm sharing those in a kind of cool, funky, pretty format that has my logo and picture on it. And those will come to people one a week. So it's really,
nice.
to me, it's about making the connection, and this is just the beginning. It's an opportunity to get a conversation started. I don't have all the answers. I've just got to, I've figured out how to be really happy, fulfilled, to be kind of in a place of peace that isn't conditional on what I have or what I'm doing or even who I'm with. There's something that behind that I feel so blessed, and if I can reach out and through these connections that we're making, whether they're one-on-one or large groups, help other people experience any of that, all of it, it's just what I'm here to do.
Excellent.
That's amazing.
I don't know.
And so needed.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, we're all doing our part, right? You're
Yes.
doing what you're meant to be doing, and you're giving people a forum to share. And I think everybody, if they stop and they really get quiet and they try to free themselves from all the noise, everybody knows that they're meant to make a difference. And a lot of people are already making a difference.
True.
Just in the way that they're being, the things that they're doing, and maybe they're not appreciating themselves enough for it. Maybe they're not recognizing how wonderful of an impact they're already making, because they feel like they need to do more, or there's just there's something, the stories that they've learned over the years that have kind of blocked their ability to just be totally in love with themselves. And I think that's where it starts. We need to, even if we're not perfect, none of us are perfect. I've got lots of things that I'm still working on, but you know what? I'm good enough.
There you go.
Right?
And isn't it so true that actually life can get in the way?
It does. It always does.
Yeah.
Every moment of every day. But it's just the way, not obviously, but it's the way we see it.
Exactly.
Right? It's the way we perceive it.
The way we react to it. Yeah.
Like it's you can look on the bright side, or you can look on the dark side, right? If you choose to not believe the dark side exists, then all you have is the bright side. And then no matter what happens, everything is an opportunity to be really your highest self, and just kind of live that way. And it's so much nicer. It's so much more fun.
Yes.
Being
Yes,
happy.
it is, for sure.
Well, if you were to encapsulate, say, in just one statement, and this may be a little difficult, but if you were to encapsulate, what is your big vision, just your true big vision for Doctors on Purpose, what would you say that is?
I think I alluded to it. It's to
Yeah.
change the conversation. It's to have a different conversation between healthcare providers and the people who are receiving healthcare, so that we're all seeing each other as human beings who that healthcare providers are human beings who have a gift to share, a purpose to fulfill, and needs to be met. The people who are receiving healthcare are human beings who have needs to be met and gifts to share, and that we all come together to meet each other's needs and respect each other and appreciate each other and come from a place of love and not fear. So that's really where that's the vision. And I see events where we have Doctors on Purpose type doctors and healthcare providers sharing what they know with people who are coming to receive it and give them back what they need. So we're doing, I alluded to, I'd like to talk about this just for a moment if I could. We're doing our first live event, and it's predominantly for doctors, but we're also including families. We have this Dr. Lebrat and his sister Sky are in Bocas del Toro, Panama, on this catamaran. And they were in Haiti after the earthquake. They've been in Jamaica, and now they're in Panama, having a huge impact on this village and going out and doing remote clinics. We were just on Skype with them this afternoon. They're getting ready to go for a 3-day remote clinic. They're hiking 3.5 hours up into a mountain village to see people who have never seen a doctor in their lives. There's
Wow.
a village of 3
Wow.
people. They've never seen a doctor. So we're going to bring out 20 doctors with families, if they choose to, and do a combination of medical conference, life kind of purpose work to help people do this kind of deep work, go out and do these remote clinics on the remote islands, and play on the beach in Panama. And we're calling it Purpose in Panama.
Love it.
So we have limited space. We're taking 20 healthcare providers. There's probably room for other people, but we only have enough space for 20 doctors to go and do this kind of volunteer mission work. And so if there's anyone out there who's listening and you're interested in going to Panama the first week of April.
No, what a blessing, Dr. Bob, to so many people.
Yeah, it's going to provide such a great recognition for floating doctors and the amazing work they're doing. The people of this community in Panama will have all these wonderful, passionate people coming into their community and offering their services. The people who come will leave totally transformed. It will be incredibly powerful. So we're actually looking at creating, this is the first, I believe, the first of its kind. We're looking to create kind of a new paradigm for medical conferences / volunteer trips.
Nice.
And we want to bring families so that families can experience the power of going and working among different cultures, and children can see what their parents are doing, the kind of commitment they're making. So it's going to be wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you, we need one of our viewers. I'm sorry if I'm stepping over you. I've got quite a bit of feedback has been going on for me the whole show, so I apologize. But a dear friend of ours, Mary Sinaluka, is involved with Dr. Victor Frankel. I hope I'm saying that right, Mary. But this is going to be a fabulous connection. So at some point, we're going to make sure that the two of you get together. Excited about that.
That's what it's all about, Kathy, is making these amazing connections and taking them, and this is where the power of what we're doing comes in, is connecting the right people getting them inspired. And so thank you. I look forward to that.
I want to ask you something. You've talked a lot about coaching and some of the other things that you do. Are you involved in public speaking?
I am. I'm actually tomorrow taking off and going to speak to a medical society group, and I'm open. I want to be kind of on the platform sharing this message. So I've started putting myself out there to speak, and I love being on stage. I'm a kind of a ham that way, but it just really feeds me to be able to see. I know that there's people out there, and I can feel their energy, but it really helps me to see the impact that people experience, and I hope to be able to have that kind of impact. So yeah, if anybody is looking for a doctor who has this kind of message to speak, this is my year to be out there. This is my year to really kind of get myself into the right places and make those right connections so this grows. Again, it's not about me. This is a message just kind of coming through, and I want to connect it with anybody who is inspired to take it and share it.
Fantastic.
Let me ask you this. Something you had mentioned earlier, Lisa Sasevich, as being part of her mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily including her in speaking for you, but who would you say are your role models?
There've been a number of role models in my life over the years, but I would, if I had to right now, if I had to like pick one or two role models, I would have to say that my father and my son are my biggest role models.
Wow.
And the reason I say that, my father he's an amazing man. He's a brilliant man, an engineer, went to MIT. He's had a number of different roles in his life, and he continues to keep reinventing himself and taking everything that happens in life in stride and making it work, and being so committed and so loyal and so just consistently wonderful. So I have to say that he's one, and the other one is my son, and everyone in my family is amazing. I don't want to single anybody out, but my son is he's 20. He just turned 20. He's a sophomore in college. And then one of the things I share about him with other people is that I've never, in his entire life, I've never heard him say a negative word about anybody.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
He is just one of those people who he gets it. He's got this wisdom about him. He is, he makes everybody feel good when he's around. He's a global studies major. He basically wants to go and work among people from underserved cultures and help give them a voice and help them, that's his thing. It's about being an instrument of good in the world. So, and I have to say, my daughter, I don't want to, she'll watch this and she'll say, oh my God.
Dad, what about me?
So yes, my daughter is like pure beauty and just is a joy. And then he's not a role model necessarily. I guess in a sense he is, but my son, we have a little boy. Our kids are 20, 18, and 5.
Wow.
So you kind of figure it out. And same wife, just married once, happily, 24 years. And
congratulations.
My Levi has been an inspiration for a lot of the things that I've become, because he is just beautiful, sweet energy, and it's really that it kind of I look at him and he reminds me of who I need to be. I need to be that totally pure, sweet, happy spirit, and so he's been a real gift. and of course my wife Sandy, who's just amazing and beautiful, and and everyone who's ever around her says, "Oh my goodness, she's so peaceful. How can I be like her?" And she's a real, yeah, she's been an amazing balance to my crazy energy. And so my family are really, and my mom, okay, I can't leave my mom out.
I know, don't leave your mom out.
She's amazing as well. She's a brilliant woman. She's a brilliant writer, and she's, she's probably largely responsible for me being as confident and happy as I am, because she's just always loved me unconditionally, even when I spit in her face when I was 4 years old. Mom, I'm sorry if you're watching. I said it there in front of everybody.
Well, Brian and I had the pleasure of meeting Sandy, and she is absolutely beautiful and has a piece about her
Yes.
for sure. So what a great combination the two of you are.
And what a
Yeah,
tribute
thanks.
that when
Pretty
asked,
blessed.
what a tribute that when asked who your role models are, that you chose all of your family members. You don't hear that much these days. People will pick sports figures or prominent speakers or television, personalities. But that, I think,
Right.
speaks true to the heart of who you, Dr. Bob, are, and that you get it. Like you're saying, other people get it, you get it, and you are the right guy for this, as you know, with the passion you're carrying, with this torch for helping doctors and other professionals. That was touching. That was fantastic. That your role models. It started with your son. How much can we learn from our kids? Amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. It's mind blowing. They teach us so
Yeah.
much. But that surprised me in a great way. That was excellent.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I honestly, I don't know that, several years ago, I don't know that that's where I would have been.
Yeah.
And so it's been a journey, and I'm certainly getting, I'm totally comfortable with that being the reality for me.
Beautiful.
And again, I'm blessed.
Well,
So I just wanted to, Sandy put this in front of me, so I wanted to make sure, if anybody knows of any doctors who are really inspiring, if you have a connection, if you are a doctor who's really on purpose, I'm looking to get more in contact with these amazing people. So if you know of somebody you think would be a great person to interview and have on the site, that would be wonderful. And again, just connect with us. Get on doctorsonpurpose.com and be part of the movement. Be part of what we're doing. The more, the merrier. We'd love to have everybody's energy, whether you're a doctor or a garbage collector. We value every single person and what you bring to it.
so what would you say is the
Awesome.
best way for these folks to get in touch with you if they know of somebody that would help in your cause?
Probably go to doctorsonpurpose.com, and
Okay.
then there's a contact page. Well, my phone number is plastered all over there. It's 209-770-2020, and it's in my pocket. You can call. I won't answer it right now, but I'm
Yeah, not now.
I'm available to talk if you're interested in talking about coaching. I'd love for as many people as possible to get on that call, because it's it's going to energize me and jazz me up to know that people are interested in hearing more about being on purpose and creating a life they love. And again, getting on the website and going to the contact page is probably the best way to do that.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, I've got to tell you, it happens every week, Dr. Bob. Before we know it, the hour has flown by, and it has done so again. I've got to tell you, one thing that Brian and I share a lot when we have our show each week is about how important we believe events are. Because we have always connected with so many fantastic people. And we put you on that list as well because we had the pleasure of meeting you and your beautiful wife, Sandy, at Linda Jones's event this past July. And for that, we're so thankful and grateful. Not only that we had the opportunity to meet you then, but we've had the opportunity to even get to know you a bit more about how passionate you are in sharing your life with so many others. So I just want to tell you, thank you so much. Thanks, Sandy, for being here on the sidelines on with you tonight. I think she ought to pop her head in so that she can say hi to everybody, or goodbye as it will.
She's right here.
Is she gonna pop in?
In my
I think she should.
All right.
This is Sandy.
Hello.
Sandy Uslander. Thank you so much. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and I speak for Brian too, we're so grateful and thankful to know you both. Thanks for spending time and sharing with you tonight. I'm going to pass it back to Brian.
And it could.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure. It was wonderful, and I look forward to every time that we get to connect together.
Absolutely. And everything Kathy said, I can't say it any better. She always does such a great job of summarizing our feelings for our guests. Learned a lot about you, Dr. Bob, and Sandy. You're wonderful to stand by his side and to be there with him and for him and to do this together. That's, you don't know how, well, you probably do, Dr. Bob, how blessed you are to have that spousal support.
I do, but
yeah.
I appreciate the reminders here and there too. I can never hear it enough or express it enough. So
absolutely.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome. Well, as Kathy mentioned, we are at the end of our show. This show will be available for those of you that want to see it after the recording for about a week approximately to all. And after that, it will be in our Star Club members area for anyone who wishes to partake in that. Fantastic show. Once again, Dr. Bob, can't wait to hear back from your trip to Panama. Maybe we can hook up and do this again and do a summary, if you will, and catch up and see how things are going then. But until then, until next week, we have another fantastic show lined up, so be sure to tune into that one. And if you don't know or have not yet registered, just click on the register link above. It's a free opt-in. We don't charge money, and we don't come after you looking for money. It's just a way to announce to you what our next show is going to be and who's going to be on it. Until then, we will bid you adieu and have a fantastic evening. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.